What's up, guys? Welcome back to another vlog. Spent this last weekend in Austin, Texas. First time I was there. That was cool for Paleo FX. Super bummed I was supposed to meet up with Ryan Moran. Didn't work out. So Ryan, if you're watching this, we got to get that podcast done sometime and make some videos or something. But if you guys don't know Ryan Moran, dude is a huge inspiration to me. So definitely go check out his content. Anyways, I just want to make a pretty quick video today just to talk about one of the things that I think is sort of the biggest, most difficult parts of running any physical product business, whether that's Amazon or, well, I guess not drop shipping really, but anything that you actually have inventory, and that is cash flow. And this is just a big problem, not a problem, it's just the nature of this business. And it's one of those things that I feel like is always just kind of pushed to the side and, oh, this business is so beautiful and pretty and easy and just, you know, $0 to $10 billion. And cash flow makes that more difficult. So I just want to touch on what that even means. Like, what is the difficulty of cash flow? And then try to give you some tips as well on like how I've personally navigated this as I've scaled my Amazon business, and also things I've learned from others that are at even higher levels. So I definitely hope it'll be helpful to you on cash flow. I'm about to do a Ask Matt Q&A. So if you don't know what this is, you've got to hit the bell on the channel. Then you'll get notified when I'm doing live Q&As. You can come in and ask your questions. So do that. What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another Q&A. How's everybody doing? Our YouTube live was a ton of fun. Always great to hang out with you guys. So don't miss those. They're a blast. I love doing it. Seems like there's a lot of value hidden in that longer form where I just get going on random topics. So definitely tune into those. Also for these videos, you know, you guys can let me know what you want to see, right? Like, I feel like in the early days when there's only a few of you, people are more inclined to leave a comment. Whereas now, like, people feel like, oh, like he's not going to see it or something like that. I see it. Really, leave comments. Let me know what you want to see. That's the main way I get ideas for the future videos, because I want to make videos that you guys want to see, videos that help you guys, videos that show you more of what you want. So don't hesitate to leave a comment, ask a question. I do my best to get to it or make it into a video if it gets asked a lot. So anyways, that's how this one came up. Let's talk cash flow.
Got a head full of stacks, better grab an umbrella. I make it right.
All right, so what is cash flow? Why is this so important? Why is this so misunderstood? Definitely gonna wanna know all this, because it's gonna be crucial to you in any business really, but especially in physical product, inventory-based businesses. So the concept of cash flow is really simple. It's literally money in, money out. Now that seems super obvious, but in an inventory business, it's not always what you think. For example, if you're just making a paycheck, that's basically cash flow. That's just cash in, right? But in an inventory business, it's not cash in, cash out every day. It's not like you're buying something once, selling it once every single day. You're buying a whole bunch of inventory and putting a bunch of cash in, and then later you're getting a whole bunch of cash out. But it's not on the same timeline. So where this becomes messy is when you have to start reinvesting into more and more inventory as you're just moving along. So that means that, say hypothetically, this is obviously not gonna be your typical case, but let's say you do $10,000 in sales your very first month selling. Let's say that you invested, hypothetically, let's just say all of your, these are not actual numbers, but let's just say all your expenses were $5,000 and everything else, the top line was 10,000. That would mean that the profit is 5,000. But the reality is, what if now you decide to invest in $7,000 more of inventory before you even get that 10,000 out, for example? Well, now you're actually down, even though you're making profit on paper. So the way that I usually explain it is like the difference between profit on paper versus cash flow. So you can be profitable on paper, which really should probably be your goal at first, because like I've said many times, is you You can't be expecting to take money out of this business right away, or even for a while. You need to build it up, reinvest, really scale it and grow it to the point where it's very profitable, and then you can siphon out some of those profits into your pocket, but not the whole thing, because these businesses are expensive to run. So I got a little ahead of myself, but the concept of cash flow is really just money in, money out. And at this point, I just want you to understand that that's different than profit on paper. You might make $5,000 of profit on paper, but have no money in your bank account. That's the reality of cash flow. That's a common case in an inventory business, because when things are going good, you're gonna reinvest even more heavily. So definitely just understand that core baseline of how this operates, right? There's money that needs to be put into this business continuously. It's not just that initial investment, but it's expanding into new products, it's investing into new marketing channels, it's ordering more of your existing products, and just being able to have the inventory in stock to allow for that growth. If you start selling more and more and more, you're gonna need to have that inventory. By the way, I'm trying a tripod scene in the vlog, which feels really weird, because now I feel like I have to be more rehearsed, because this feels like I'm recording like a course or something. I'm not used to doing the tripod thing in the video, so forgive me if this vlog is semi more awkward than usual. Anyway, so that's the foundation of what I want you to understand. This is not just a business where it's purely cash flow in. There's cash flow in both directions. You need to spend $12,000 on inventory 3 months into the business, and then you're getting paid out every once in a while. It's just a weird cash flow thing. Your balance, your actual cash in, cash out is different than your monthly profit on paper. If you look at your sales and you look at what the expenses are accrued based on those sales, understand that core foundation of it. Okay, that's just the super basics of what we're even talking about. Now, a few tips for how you can really manage that, not mess it up. It can get messy. It's hard, even for me. It's hard. These are the struggles of a physical product business, and things you need to be aware of when you're getting into it from the beginning. And hopefully, even those of you that are already selling, this can be some advice for some of the hurdles that I've had to go through as I scaled. All right, so this is gonna be a bunch of different tips, but I wanna give you as much in this relatively short video as possible. So first thing, this is gonna be just obvious, but it has to do with inventory planning. That's really gonna be the main issue of cash flow, is like, when do you need to reorder? When do you need to dump more cash in? So this is an area that is tough. This is like the part that is not an exact science, because you really just have to do your best to figure out how much you think you're gonna sell, right? Take that inventory you have in stock, how long is it gonna last you? That is super obvious, I know that, but the part of this that I feel like weirdly people don't talk about is the fact that when you need reorder depends on one very obvious thing, and that is, what is the lead time for your product? This is gonna be different for every single product, every single supplier. You know, is this something that you're shipping by air and you can receive it shipped 3 to 7 days, 3 to 5 days after it's ready? Or is this something that has to be sea shipping and you're looking at 35 days or so total? Now that's on top of your production time, meaning from when you place the order until the supplier is actually ready to ship it to you. So is that 10, 15 days, or is that 60 days? I mean, I've seen everything in the middle of that. I would say 30 is pretty standard, but you see how big of a spectrum this is, right? On one hand, what if it's 15 days and can ship to you by air? Well, now you only have to inventory plan for like maybe 20 days out. On the other hand, what if it takes 60 days to produce and ships by sea? Now you're planning 3 months in advance. So that is so core to the problem of figuring out when you need to reorder. Super obvious again, but doesn't get talked about. So really want to make that point. How long is your inventory going to last you? How long does it take you to get more? Plan accordingly so that you don't go out of stock. That's a huge no-no. You don't want to go out of stock whenever possible. It's not the end of the world if you do, but it's going to help you a lot if you don't go out of stock. So avoid going out of stock and just do that planning as diligently as you can. How much inventory are you ordering? How long do you expect that to last? And if that part's not exact, because maybe there's holidays, maybe there's Prime Day, maybe there's Christmas, all kinds of stuff. Maybe there's seasonality to your product. And then beyond that, just how long is it gonna take? Do that planning as diligently as possible. All right, next cash flow tip is how you pay your suppliers. There could be something in here that really helps you. I started to laugh right there because I posted something on my Instagram today about how all these business people always say golden nuggets. That phrase is the most hilarious, most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But just popped up. Here's a golden nugget for you. I just dropped it. But anyways, golden nugget for you is how you pay your suppliers, right? If you say are using, actually before that, if you're paying for all of your order up front, meaning you're just paying 100% of the order value, so then the supplier is producing it and then you receive it later, obviously. That's kind of like, starting out type of stuff, small stuff. But most suppliers will do some sort of terms where, for example, a very common term for suppliers in China or anywhere really from manufacturers is that you will pay 30% as a deposit to start your order. They'll start manufacturing it and then you pay the 70% when that order is ready to be released. So right there, that's gonna do major things for your cash flow, because now you could say get a $10,000 order started with only $3,000, and then when it comes time to actually ship, now you pay the $7,000. So that might buy you that entire production lead time of cash flow because you're hanging on to that $7,000 until the end. So 30-70, 30 up front, 70 on balance is pretty standard for a lot of suppliers. Sometimes you can even negotiate once you get a good relationship with them, maybe 20 and 80. I've had that in some situations. Some may only do 50-50. If you're starting with a really small order, they might just do 100% upfront, but that can definitely help you with cash flow a ton as you start ramping up into bigger orders and you're establishing trust with those suppliers. So they want to cut you a break a little bit. They want to make it easy for you to grow. Always be painting that picture to your supplier that you're growing with them. Then they'll be on your team. Switching back to handheld, I just want to experiment in this particular vlog. Let me know how you feel about the whole mix-up of that. For a while, I've been thinking I want to do vlogs, and then I also want to do some more just straight to camera, more like Graham Stephan style, just straight to the point videos. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. Some people complain that the camera gets a little shaky when it's more of the handheld vlog style, but I also just want to keep it interesting. I don't want it to just be so static and boring. Ultimately, I like to bring you guys along through my life, but a lot of times that's just me at home. So that's kind of what's going on today. All right, so now cash flow really gets interesting when we start to layer on top this point that I'm about to make, which is that in business, there is something called good debt. Now, a lot of people, myself included in the past, we were conditioned to think debt is evil, debt is terrible, but stick with me. You'll realize that debt could actually be literally the key to you growing your business way further than you would have. So I'm definitely not saying that all debt is good, go buy that Lamborghini on your first day of selling. Nothing like that. There's definitely bad debt out there, and this is very different. But what good debt is where you have a leverage point, you have a cash machine, you have a business that is proven to work, and you can pour more money into it. So let's imagine you had this magic money machine business that you could put in $1 and get out $2 all day long, but you only had $10, all right? What if I were to give you $100,000 and you could put it into that money machine? Now you'd put in 100,000, get out 200,000. Like that's obviously a ridiculous example, but that kind of shows you the leverage of debt. Now, what if I told you that I was going to charge you $10,000 to borrow my $100,000? That's a loan. But if you know that you can put in $100,000 and get back $200,000, even with $10,000 of expenses, that's a very, very good investment. So that's a silly example, but that is the reality of good debt. So I would definitely not recommend taking on any type of debt to start the business. I just feel like that's bad advice to give to the masses. It could go very, very, very wrong. But when you have something that is proven and now you have a new level of confidence because you know it's profitable, you know it's working, and you want cash to pour on top of it to really accelerate, at that point it can make a ton of sense to get the best loan that you can to pour more money into this business and really take it to the next level. So a loan is going to solve the scale problem and it's going to solve the cash flow problem at the same time. It's the same problem, kind of. So I'm sure this whole topic is probably gonna raise a lot of questions, and it's something I hope to talk about more. I feel like I'm not an expert in cash flow. My real answer to how I've managed all of this is just doing the best I can. That's really my answer, is like when to reorder, just trying to figure out and plan as best I can, trying to plan how much cash I have on hand to put into it. That's really how it is until you build up and then you have more cash. It becomes a little bit easier and you start getting access to these appealing loans when they see that your business is going well, which leads me into the first point, which is the best place you're ever going to get a loan is Amazon itself. Amazon has their own internal lending program. That's what I've used to the most extent. That's what a lot of sellers that I know have used and continue to use. It's quite cheap, and the best part is it's plugged like right into Amazon. It's not perfect, but it costs money, but like if they can just it's the best place to get it because they know how well you're doing. They know in theory what you're able to take on, because it just works out of your account balance. The main downside of Amazon lending is it's invite only. It's only going to be potentially opened up to you after about a year of selling. That seems to be the official rule. I don't think they actually say that, but I've never seen somebody get it before a year. Also, like, you have to have solid sales. I don't know what the exact number is, but it only seems to happen to accounts that are growing and starting to produce some pretty solid sales numbers. But then they'll offer you a very small loan. You take that loan, and then they continually offer you refinances. So I think my first loan that they ever offered me was like, I don't know, it was like $6,000 or $8,000. It was very small, but I took it, and a month, or I think it would be like something around 2 months later, maybe even 45 days later, not 45 seconds, they would offer a refinance. And I think I went from like 8 to 50,000 to 100,000 to 150,000 to 200,000 to 300 something thousand is where they offer me now. I don't necessarily take all of it at this point, but that's what they offer. I know people that have up to, I believe, $750,000 in a loan from Amazon. So it's an amazing resource to pour into your business. So any traditional financing, like going to Bank of America or something like that, they're gonna just turn you down so hard, because they're gonna need like 150 years of business tax return history to qualify for like a standard business loan. It's all built off of like not internet businesses. Like it's super, don't even look there. But the options that you can look for at the beginning, or not the beginning, but close to the beginning, before Amazon lending perhaps, that really obvious one is credit cards, honestly. Like if you're using those 30/70 terms, like I mentioned, if you're using, say, trade assurance through Alibaba, you could put it onto a credit card, buy yourself an extra 30 days or so. The interest rates on a credit card are going to be really high, but even without that, you're still getting the statement balance like 30 days or whatever into the future. So that's helping on cash flow. Plus, if you pay a little interest here and there, if you have that leverage point in your business, then hey, it's worth it, even if the interest is a bit higher. So again, that's that concept of good debt and bad debt. Another one that is available to, without needing to be manually selected for the Amazon one, is something called Cabbage. I used that like 2.5 years ago or something, when I was pretty early on. And it's okay, it's more expensive. You can usually negotiate down the terms a bit. Like they ended up offering me something way better than what they first offered me. So that has potential as well, still not as good. And I've heard of, a lot of people are gonna ask about this one called Payability. From what I know, that makes no sense to me. I would not look at that one, I have to say, because the whole point of that one is you're just getting your 14-day Amazon payout early. So it's buying you such a short window that the percentages you're paying for such a short advance is like unbelievably like theft level percentages. Just doesn't make any sense. One other option coming out, and I don't even know if I should necessarily be talking about it, so maybe I'll make another video with him later, is my friend Steve. I did an Instagram live with him a long time back. He did 7 million in sales last year on Amazon, so he's legit. His background is in finance, and I know he's got a lending company for Amazon sellers specifically. I know that's out there, but I think maybe I'll make a separate video with him sometime to talk more about that, but seems like that's gonna be an option. But yeah, so those are a couple ways that you could potentially get financing. Obviously, there's also friends or family if you wanna navigate those waters, but yeah, really, if you're onto something, if you have something that works and you can take cash at an expense and dump it into a fire that's just exploding, then that's a really worthy trade to make. All right, so I definitely rambled a little bit more than I expected to. So I think I'll probably wrap this one up just about here. And we can always talk more about this if this is a topic that you have additional questions. Again, leave the questions. Let me know what you want more of, or ask them in the Facebook group, things like that, where we can always continue the conversation, but I think that was probably the right dose of talking about this for this video, I hope. So I'll say, if you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell. There's a lot more of this already on the channel. There's a lot more coming, and go ahead, leave a comment, whether you're new or old. Leave a comment if you like this, if you hate it, you know, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, what you think of the style. I'm just looking for ideas. I'm always trying to improve. Like, look, this channel is, I mean, you guys are the ones watching, right? Like I do this for you guys. So I'm always wanting to improve. So let me know. I feel like this one had a little bit different style. So hopefully it didn't bore anybody. If you made it this far, I truly, truly appreciate you. If you want to do anything in return for me, just like tell your friends about this channel. I'm trying to grow it. I want to get it out there more, reach more people. So I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next video.